What do I think about the LS drama? Okay, so all right, so this whole thing is a little strange because Cadrel's take, and for those who don't know, Cadrel made a comment that was basically to the effect that he thinks that the majority of LS's takes are wrong. I would wholeheartedly kind of disagree with that. I think that LS is more often right than he is wrong. I think that he generally has the correct read of how things are going to happen with a player or a champion or a patch or, the way the game's going or, anything like that. The majority of the time, LS kind of gets it right. He's wrong from time to time, but he's human the same as the rest of us. So, he gets them wrong. But for those who don't know, the issue is that Cadrel basically made a comment to the effect that he thought that while he liked LS as a person, he thought that the majority of his takes were bad or wrong, to which Nemesis, the mid laner from Fnatic, then responded that he thought that Cadrel was stupid and that, LS admits that he's wrong all the time and that his takes are correct and so on and so forth. And then LS kind of responded on his own on Twitter, and the whole thing's kind of exploded. And, as per normal, the whole thing is a war on Reddit now, and the first thing you see is, comments being thrown at, at the different sides of, how Cadrel's correct, or, how he's an idiot, or, how it's turning into this thing. My whole thing is that everybody is entitled to their specific opinions, and while Cadrel's, I think, is maybe a little on the nose, he's also not incorrect. He's not correct to the degree that he thinks he is, but he's also not incorrect. LS gets him wrong as much as anybody else, but I would think that anybody that has had a storied career as LS has had, I think it comes to the general expectation that that person knows what they're talking about. LS hasn't played professionally in League, at all, but he's definitely an esports pro from his StarCraft days. He definitely has the intelligence, and definitely with a lot of his takes that have been right, has earned his credibility as someone who can offer opinion and have the reasonable doubt of that he's going to be correct. And like I said, the majority of the time he gets it correct. So I think that all the opinions that have been involved with this from start to finish, those people are entitled to their opinions, but ultimately I think it would be better if other people didn't exactly weigh in on the subject at all. If I were LS, I wouldn't have responded in any way, shape, or form. I would have just been, oh, look, Cadrel's mad, or, Cadrel made a comment. That's fine. I don't agree, but you're entitled to your opinion. And I think Nemesis kind of stepping in and, throwing his own verbal fist in that whole thing was ill-advised. Just, there was no need to go that ham. Like, he could have said, well, I think Cadrel's wrong, and here's why. And he does that, but then he also takes it to the nth degree, and it's like, hey, you don't need to do that. Offer your opinion, state why, and move on. Don't turn into this whole thing. And that's what's happened, is it's turned into this whole thing. And the sad part of the matter is that this isn't the first time it's happened. It seems like every other Thursday somebody tries to call out LS's credibility, which I think he's kind of above reproach in terms of the credibility of his opinion. He gets it right more often than he gets it wrong, which is more than most analysts or coaches or players or even casters can say. It's just how it is. LS is just one of those guys that, he kind of has a read on things earlier than most people, but he does get it wrong, and it's not like he doesn't admit it. I think Nemesis claim, or I think that Nemesis trying to assert that Cadrel was saying that LS doesn't admit that he's wrong, I think was ill-advised. Cadrel never said that. Cadrel just said that he thought LS was wrong. He never said that LS didn't admit when he was wrong. He does it all the time. So I think Nemesis leaping to LS's defense was a little premature. LS doesn't need saving. LS doesn't need people to go and start Reddit wars or Twitter wars or go make videos on YouTube. He's perfectly capable of defending himself. He has shown that. He has shown that to an excellent degree over the last several years, and ultimately his reputation speaks for itself. So at the end of the day, if I were Les, I'd be like, "Oh, that's nice, Cadrel. See you never," because they're not going to cross paths hardly ever. Unless they somehow attend the same league event. But I don't know. The whole thing for me is pointless, overblown, and has been made out to be a much bigger deal than it needs to be. There are people who have voiced their opinions on a public stream who are entitled to those opinions, even if those opinions were taken to an nth degree beyond what they should have been. You know, and I mean, it should have been the end of the matter. I mean, but the problem is I know that intrinsically a comment like that is not going to get left alone just because, you know, once it's on a stream, you know, it's, you know, saying, oh, LS, did you see this? You see what Cadrel said? And then, I mean, I don't know, it's a whole thing. So, personally, I would much like to stay away from that controversy. I think it's not even controversial, it's just annoying. I mean, it's just, it's a distraction. And, I mean, this whole fight has started for what? I mean, the only thing I had to question for Cadrel is he's a smart dude. He's technically a former pro because he's not currently playing for a team. I imagine maybe he'll have opportunities with another team at some point if he doesn't want to keep casting. But, I mean, he's a smart, intelligent person. He should have known better. You know, the minute you go after LS, I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure. I don't know what else you want from me on that one. So I think whatever kickback that LS is getting, or not LS, whatever kickback that Cadrel is getting, I think is deserved. I mean, you knew what was going to happen, and if you didn't, then there's some issues. So, man, you're entitled to your opinion, 100%. Just make sure you're ready to stand by the consequences whenever you throw out a ill-measured comment and think that nothing's gonna happen, because people like LS. A lot of people like LS. There are plenty that don't, but I'd say on the whole of it, there are more people that like LS than don't. So yeah, that's my thought on the matter, and I'm gonna leave it there for now, just because nothing else has happened that warrants any further conversation, and hopefully the issue just dies there. Been handled, and I hope all three of those gentlemen just decide to leave it there, because I think doing or saying anything else other than that would be incredibly ill-advised and highly unintelligent. Just leave it alone, boys. Y'all got your word in edgewise. Time to wave and part ways and leave it be.